First story. I went to NC after my entitled parents encouraged my stepsister cheating with my boyfriend. 2 years later, they come back, demanding I break up with my current boyfriend because I'm dating my ex's boss, and it's making them uncomfortable. I am using a temporary account. When I was little, like 7 years old, my dad cheated on my mother with my stepmom, Karen. After her divorce, my mom moved away and got married again. I was always under the impression that my mother abandoned me, and that's what my dad told me too. Karen had a daughter at that time who was 5, Mia. Mia and I were kind of close growing up. But when we both hit puberty, our personalities were different. Mia was the typical girly girl. She developed beautifully. She was basically like Cassie from Euphoria. She would get all the attention. Even my relatives preferred her more than me. I was basically a nerd. I was interested in sports, but I was told that I do not look bad, and that I am very attractive and pretty in my own way. But I was overshadowed by Mia. My dad was someone who was an opportunist. Whenever he would see an opportunity for him to shine, he would take it. Even if it meant sidelining his own daughter. He saw that Mia got more attention than me, so he invested everything in her. I was kind of jealous. But I wasn't really that bothered because I believed if I did something good, it would be appreciated. So, I studied hard and got into a prestigious university. That was the only time my father threw a party for me, because I was the first in the family to do it. But Mia was jealous of it. So anyway, during my last year of high school, I started dating Tim 30M. He proposed to me when we were sophomores in college. But we decided to wait until our graduation. So one day during our semester break, I went to his home, and I saw him effing Mia. I was shocked, to say the least. I remember crying and screaming at him. I could never forget the smirk on Mia's face. That's when I knew Mia was a BTCH. So, my dad and stepmother knew about it, and guess what? My dad told me to forgive them. His logic was, Tim fell out of love with me, so he fell in love with your sister. You should give them your blessing instead of being petty. I shouted back, of course you will say that because you cheated on Mom. My dad and I had a screaming match. He told me he would disown me if I did not accept them and come to their wedding. I remember that I stormed off and cried for days. That's the moment I realized I was alone. My dad didn't care if I was dead or alive, but thank God, I had friends who I could count on. I started therapy after a friend of mine pushed me to it. It did help a bit, but in my mind, I wanted some revenge. I wanted to be petty and make her regret it. I started thinking about what I could do. My initial plan was to wear white on her wedding day. But then I ran into Mia's ex Jay. Jay and Mia have been one of those couples who were on and off again. Mia exploited Jay a lot. The last time they broke up was when Jay caught Mia flirting with one of his friends. But there was a lot of history. So, when Jay learned about Mia and Tim, he was a little angry. He kept saying he wishes he could just take revenge on all the times Mia has done him wrong. So, I had another plan. I asked him to be my +1 at her wedding. I know Mia still has feelings for Jay. It would piss her off. But we agreed that after that, we would part ways. So when the wedding came, I was not in the wedding party. My dad was cordial with me because I wasn't creating trouble. So I went to her wedding with Jay, and I was wearing a bright red dress because I read that red means you slept with the groom. It was also over the top. I might have made some heads turn. When Mia saw me with Jay, her face turned pale. I was purposely being very touchy with Jay, like whispering in his ears, touching his shoulder, and dancing with him very closely. I swear, Mia was just as red as my dress. I was also asked to give a speech. I kept it short. Thank God I do not have more sisters. Otherwise, Tim would have swapped Mia with one of them. You know he has a fetish for effing his fiancée's sisters behind her back. Me and Jay were asked to leave. The next day, I was bombarded with messages and phone calls. I didn't pick any of them. As for Jay, he stuck to our deal, and I never saw him again. After the wedding incident, I decided I should find my mom, because something in me was telling me that she didn't abandon me. It wasn't hard to find her. I found her on Facebook, and we started chatting. She is married and has 2 boys, my half-brothers. I got the real story from her. She didn't abandon me. My father won the custody case. He used my mom's past substance abuse to take away her visitation rights too. We reconciled, and for the first time in my life, I felt welcomed. I also met my stepfather and my 2 brothers. They are amazing people. Since then, I have regularly met them. 2 years after the wedding incident, I met a guy named Andy. We met during an alumni program at our college. He also went to our college, but he was 5 years my senior. We had a lot in common. He was kind, sweet, and very mature. He knows about my past and has been really supportive. He was better than Tim in every other way. He was charming, and had a really high position in his job. After 2 years, my sister contacted me out of the blue and told me she was pregnant, and she now wants to bury the hatchets. I was very reluctant. I was afraid that she would try to steal Andy away from me as well. But Andy reassured me that he is not that weak. Honestly, I do want to meet my dad again. So I gave it a shot anyway. I went to dinner with Andy, and to my surprise, Tim recognized him. It was later revealed to me that Andy was basically Tim's boss. This is a fact I didn't know. My dad and stepmom brought me to a corner and said that my relationship with Andy is unacceptable because I am trying to hurt my sister by dating Tim's boss. I told them to F off. My love life is none of their business. The dinner went sour. After that, I got a drunken call from Tim saying that he is very unhappy with my sister and that he actually wants to escape. He never knew what he had lost until he saw me with Andy. I ignored him totally. Then the phone calls didn't stop. First, my dad told me that my dating Andy was causing tension between my sister and Tim. I told him their marital life was none of my business. I got a call from my stepsister, who asked if she could come to my house and talk. I told her after the dinner party that I wanted nothing to do with any of them. That BTCH didn't listen. Instead, she went to Andy's office to convince him to talk to me. Of course, Tim saw this and accused her of trying to seduce Andy like he had seduced him. Long story short, Andy had to fire Tim for his misbehavior. This caused even more tension. Tim became verbally abusive towards Mia and said his life was ruined because of her. They separated. Tim is trying to figure out how he can handle the divorce proceedings. After the Tim and Mia drama, my dad suddenly showed up in my apartment. He was bawling his eyes out when he caught Karen sleeping with his male cousin. He was devastated. So I told him what he said to me when Tim cheated on me. Karen fell out of love with you, so she fell in love with your cousin. You should give them your blessing instead of being petty. My dad was confused. I further told him, well, you taught me this, remember? I was sad about Tim cheating on me with Mia. You told me to forgive them. My father's face was rotten, to say the least. Now I have 2 family members who are going through divorce. Tim and Mia tried to reconcile, but eventually they settled for divorce. My dad did apologize to me for what he did to me and my mom. I told him that he deserved what's coming for him, and that I have no feeling left for him. Not even pity. If the time ever comes, I might forgive him, but I don't want him anymore. He will not be walking me down the aisle. Andy and I are recently engaged. We are having a small ceremony with just close friends and family. I was only planning for petty revenge, but karma got them better. I guess it is what they deserve for being such shy people. I know this sounds like a work of fiction, but it is not. Real life is stranger than fiction. I might update if something big happens, but right now I am busy with the wedding. Update. Hi, everyone. Boy, I have been bombarded with a lot of messages and comments. I don't understand why you think this story is fake. But this is real. I know people will still say it's fake. But I am glad that even if you guys thought it was fake, it was good enough for you. So, I just want to clarify a few things. 1. First of all, I called Mia Cassie because she kind of looks like that actress, and also because she always likes being the center of attention. But I was not some ugly duckling as well. I just didn't want to grab too much attention for myself. 2. My dad was a very image-obsessed person. That's why he always favored Mia over me, because she was the type to grab attention. The only time he actually favored me was when I got into a prestigious university. But other than that, I was pretty invisible to him because I was a reminder of his failed marriage. 3. About the red dress, I was actually planning to wear white. But at that time, I read in some magazines that wearing red to a wedding meant that you had sex with the groom, and it was a vibrant red. But to be honest, I don't think people got it. I should have stuck to white lol. 4. I did not know that Tim was working under Andy. Because when I learned Andy was Tim's boss, he only started working at the company for like 3 months. I have gone to Andy's office a few times, but only during lunchtime. I have never run into Tim, so I hope I cleared it up. Sorry, it was not much of an update. I am busy with my wedding. Also, because of my mother's request, I have decided to contact my dad. I am willing to invite him to my wedding. It is short notice, and I will cover for his flight and stay. But I will be setting some boundaries. I do not want Karen and Mia at my wedding. My dad can walk me down the aisle along with my stepfather. My stepdad is a wonderful human. I know a lot of you will say my dad doesn't deserve it. But he is still my dad. He is trying his best to connect with me. I can be amicable with him. And taking away this opportunity from him seems really cruel. Second story. Boyfriend threatened to end their 9-year relationship after OP saw his boyfriend's scars. My boyfriend's house burned down when he was young after electrical issues were never disclosed to his parents. He and his father were severely burned. They lived, but his mother died. He and I met in freshman year and became best friends in sophomore year. I've never seen his scars in full view until now, only small glimpses if his shirt rode up, and he'd quickly fix his shirt to cover it. He always hides his scars, constantly wearing jeans, pants, and long-sleeve shirts. Even if it's super hot outside, his scars start from the bottom half of his ribs to just above his knees, so this is the only way he can cover them. Even bringing his pajamas into the bathroom to change into. He's done this ever since I've known him, even after sex, which we do in the dark, which doesn't bother me, because I know this is what makes him comfortable. He'll immediately get changed back into his clothes before we cuddle or do anything else once again. I'm fine with this. Just trying to explain that I know how uncomfortable he is with his scars. I know he is ashamed of his scars, and when we were friends, I was fiercely protective and always changed the subject if his scars got brought up, which he always thanked me for. I have never and would never ask or pressure him to show me. I don't judge his scars or think they're ugly. I thought he knew I wouldn't judge him because some of his dad's burn scars are impossible to cover up, one of them covering half his face, and never once have I judged or even thought his dad's scars were disturbing. He's a very handsome man. They both are, which is why I'm so confused by his reaction and accusations of this. I work weird hours. I'm a nurse, so sometimes I can come home at 9 a.m., sometimes at 5 p.m., and sometimes at the crack of dawn. I went to immediately take a shower. I was in airplane mode and was completely exhausted. I opened the bathroom door, and he was getting changed. I saw his scars. I'll admit, I stared not because I thought they were gross, but because I was having an OSHT moment, knowing I effed up. He and I have been dating for quite a year. I had to move into his place a while ago after my parents went out of contact and cut me off after I came out and told them I was dating BF. Long story short, toxic Bible-thumping parents. So I'm not used to sharing an apartment with someone. He blew up at me, yelling at me to get out. Note: he has never yelled at me before this. Sure, we got into spats and small fights where he raised his voice, but he never full-on yelled. I shut the door, and he went quiet. I was pacing in the kitchen for almost 20-30 minutes when he quickly walked past me, trying to leave when I stopped him. He was pissed, yelling at me that he thought I would know how to knock by now, and questioning if I did it on purpose. I was trying to explain while trying not to cry because I saw how red his eyes were. I knew he was crying. I couldn't say anything. I just made incomprehensible sobs as I tried to explain that I was. But he wouldn't listen and left without saying where he was going. I'm heartbroken. He texted me an hour ago with a single message. I'm not coming home. Tomorrow we can talk about our relationship. I immediately messaged him back, asking what that meant, and spent several minutes watching that little text incoming bubble bob in and out before he texted whether we should stay together, as if it were obvious. I have no idea what to do. He's my boyfriend. My best friend of 8 years. What the hell do I do? I love him. I can't imagine life without him. His dad is like a father to me. I have nowhere else to go if he kicks me out. Above it all, I can't lose him. I'd rather have to go through coming out again than lose him. How do I make it up to him? How do I let him know that I'm sorry and never meant to make him uncomfortable? Edit. Yuval Orfux Potatoes brought up a good point that made me think, so I should specify. He was bullied for his scars. A huge bully of his from middle school always sniffed the air when he entered a class and said really loudly, You guys smell that? It smells like bacon burning." He was a little chubby in middle school. Every time he entered a room, he laughed. Also, in small glances, a lot of our guy friends would say, "Cool it is. It looks like Deadpool's skin." They were trying to be nice, but failed horribly, hence my fierce protectiveness over anyone bringing it up. And his family always emphasized that it didn't matter what he looked like on the outside, because he was beautiful on the inside. Seriously, WTF. He's also mentioned having a really bad ex-girlfriend who had issues with his scars in the past, but never went too deep into it. And I'm starting to wonder if that's what his overreaction and suggestion of a breakup were rooted in. I'm taking mental notes on all the comments on what's the best way to approach this. And they're really helping. Update. So, I tried to update this yesterday, but couldn't post within 48 hours, so I was going to wait. But someone DM'd me to suggest I just put the update here. So, here we go. A lot of your comments were very helpful, and I didn't get to reply to some, but I read them. Most of them were on the same page. Get him to go to therapy and make sure he knows his scars aren't an issue for me. As well as setting up a place to stay in the worst case scenario that he kicked me out. Spoiler alert. That did not happen. I didn't sleep a lot last night. And based on some comments, thank you Utrazagain, I decided to send a text saying that I love him and his scars don't bother me, so that it could relieve some tension. He didn't respond to that, but he came back in the morning. We talked for hours, and it started with me apologizing for walking in on him and saying that I didn't mean to. He admitted that he knew that and apologized for yelling. I suggested we get locks on doors, and he seemed pretty happy about that. To clear the air, I asked him about whether we should stay together text, and if it was rooted in his ex-girlfriend. Basically, she was asking if she broke up with him over that. He admitted that he thought she didn't mind his scars and took his shirt off in front of her. She decided to gasp and start making a big deal about how he cheated her, and that he made it seem like the scars weren't that bad, and broke up with him. I have a newfound hatred for her now. He said he knew it wasn't an excuse, but his brain immediately went to that, and he freaked out. I asked if he wanted to break up, and he was just trying to find an excuse, and he quickly said no, specifying that he was just trying to give me an excuse if I wanted it. When I told you, I was relieved. He asked if I wasn't disgusted why I stared, and I said that I had an OSHT moment of panic, knowing I effed up. He felt awful and apologized for making me feel so uncomfortable in our home. Every time he says our home, I have a serotonin high, and that he'd try to work on being more comfortable with his scar. That's when I suggested therapy. He instantly got defensive, saying that he already had therapy and it didn't work very well. I pointed out that the way he wants us to live isn't healthy, that we can have locks and a knock before entering policy. But him expecting me to never see him naked was unfair to both of us. It was his insecurities getting worse and me enabling them. He was dismissive of these points, saying how it wouldn't change things. It didn't work the first time. Why would it work now? I pointed out how he almost threw out a 9-year-old relationship over me accidentally walking in on him. He tried to say that locks would help stop that from happening again, me walking in on him, not him throwing out the relationship, and I said, it might, but I don't want you walking on eggshells either. I want you to be comfortable with me. I want you to trust me. He begrudgingly agreed to talk to his dad about what therapist he went to, and was going to see them. I'm going to text his dad just to make sure he does this in a few days. I also repeated a suggestion that other people had made about getting tattoos or going to couples counseling, and he just stared. He asked something along the lines of, why do you care about seeing my scars so much? You didn't care before. Not mean or aggressive, just genuine confusion. I kind of laughed awkwardly and said, I thought that you would show me on your own when you were ready, but I don't know about that anymore. Baby, I love you, but I don't want you to feel like you have to hide your scars from me. Nor do I want you to worry about me breaking up with you and overseeing your scars. I love all of you, including your scars. He started crying. This wasn't the first time in the conversation. Tons of tears were shed on both ends, and I comforted him. He said he didn't want me to be stressed out in our home, and that he was sorry. He was a lot more open to couples counseling than personal therapy, which was a half-win that I'll take for now. We talked about our future some more, and I asked if he ever thought that he'd be comfortable with me seeing his scars. He said that he wants to show me, but he's not ready yet. I was happy to accept that, especially since he's agreed to couples counseling and therapy. I am so proud of him. I've summarized a lot here, but once again, this was a very long talk. We got dinner and slept, which we both really needed. And as of today, I'm doing research on couple therapists while he goes to work. Long story short, we are getting on a better path with a plan for the future where I can see his scars. I won't be showing him this post because quite a few comments were pretty rough on him, and he doesn't deserve to read that for a reasonable breakdown. Lord knows that man has dealt with plenty of my breakdowns. Thank you everyone for the suggestions and support. All the hug awards made my day, so thank you. Third story. OP's abusive husband almost unalive her for talking to a coworker. My 31F husband 32M cheated on me for 2 years. However, every time he gets a new friend, he thinks I am into them or having sex with them. He gave me a concussion because I hugged his friend after helping his wife give birth at home, and his friend was trying to say thank you. I didn't want to hug the guy anyway, but I was being polite, and we were in their house. I got a new job at a restaurant, and one of my coworkers is really attention-seeking, and he is dating another girl coworker. We have karaoke nights on the Mondays that I work, and the coworker always comes and sings a lot and is drunk. I don't talk to this dude or acknowledge him because my husband thinks he is attention-seeking. I sang a song at karaoke, and my coworker commented on it. Now my husband is mad because he says I don't have boundaries when I ask him to have boundaries with women. His friend was a few hours late to meet up with him the other day. I was home alone, cleaning the house, and had music on. My husband called me 10 times, and I didn't notice because I was cleaning and didn't have my phone. I also missed a call from my friend. I answered his last call, and he accused me of having his friend over and having sex with him. We even had a friend who was a homeless meth dude, and the friend talked to me about how he's sleeping with some dude's wife, while my husband is right there picking stuff up. He got mad at me for having that conversation, and I agreed that it was inappropriate and wouldn't talk to him by myself anymore. Meth dude made dinner another night, and he was being really insecure about his cooking and kept asking if it was okay, so I told him it was great because I honestly wanted him to shut up. I mentioned how my husband makes amazing food. I was punished for a week over this, and there was violence. Today, we were arguing because the coworker thing happened last night. He wanted to leave, so I tried to get in the car to stop him. He got in the car and told me that he was going to give me a concussion and end me. He started beating me, and I saw blood all over us. He tried to choke me to the point where I couldn't even make a sound to scream. I opened the car door and screamed for my landlord to help, as she lives right on the property. She helped us calm down, and he apologized and said he doesn't like having rules set for him. I asked him to have boundaries with women. The advice I'm really looking for is, has anyone ever been with someone who is very traumatized? He was a child refugee from Africa. His relationship with his mom is bad. She shows no love. He and his siblings starved so that she could buy gold jewelry, and she stole all their money. He was in a relationship with a woman 20 years older than him who has 7 children and is an alcoholic and physically abusive. She cheated on him the whole time and severely put him down. I have a lot of empathy for him, have seen him grow a lot, and am proud of him for how far he has come. But some things, like his insecurity, are not changing fast enough for me to even be or feel safe. I had a hard life. I was assaulted a lot as a child and beat. I have been drugged and assaulted many times as I got older. I was put in lockdown facilities from 13 to 18 because my parents listened to therapists and thought I was mentally ill. Despite all of these things, I am an extremely positive and optimistic person. I learned how to heal myself, and in the lockdowns, I learned how to find freedom within myself when I had nothing. I have always been psychologically aware and intelligent in the way that I can help people, help myself, and understand what is going on in people's hearts. I see the true person who wants to be free in him, who is caged by all of his pain, but it has taken a toll on me. His cheating made me lose myself, and I was a shell of a human until recently. I have been getting back on my feet, but I feel like because I have better energy now, men are becoming more attracted to me. And now my husband is starting to become paranoid and insecure again when I have never betrayed him like that, and I never will. But when you're paranoid, everything you see feeds your assumptions. I guess I am just wondering, has anyone been with someone so traumatized and had to be patient for their growth? I can deal with a lot, and I know that humans are complex. I don't expect a perfect person. Thank you for taking the time. Relevant comments. By Utha Sandwich. After your partner chooses you for the first time, you are 750% more likely to be murdered by them. Choking is the #1 predictor that he will kill you. Response by OP. Damn, bro. I don't even know how many times this guy has choked me. It's the only time I really fear for my life. Update, 3 months later. I hope that link works. This is my first time trying an update. I am really grateful for everyone's pretty blunt advice. It's been a month, and he is gone. I let him keep the car because it was the only way to get him to leave as soon as possible. My family came. It was the longest we had gone without seeing each other. He had us hating each other for the past year, so it was really nice for everyone to reconnect, and for me to remember who I am. They helped me get a car, but the main thing is that I love my life. Literally, wow, existing is amazing. I am so happy to own my life, and not live in fear anymore. Not to have so much hatred and paranoia inside of me. I started to become someone I never wanted to be in a relationship with. My own anger and violence. I thought the only way to get out was to let him unalive me, because things had gotten so codependent. All the cheating on me made me feel so attached to him that I wanted him to fix how I felt. My past relationships were bad, but in a calmer way, I was not used to something like that. I never understood why people stayed in hell like this. But here I found myself. For anyone else who also feels stuck, freedom is right around the corner. It hurts, but if you go through it, things get better so much faster than you can ever imagine. I can't explain how amazing my life feels now so quickly. Thank you all for your support, words, and honesty. I am so happy to be alive. Some cautionary advice from Redditors. By YouMageStickGirl7. Best update ever. Word of advice. He will try to come back. He will say he is sorry. He will say he is healed. He will bring up the great times and good memories. Do not honor them. Keep it moving. Don't go back. Don't get trapped looking in the rearview mirror. Let him stay away. No contact. You are better off. He will contact you, and a moment of weakness can trigger everything. Stay strong. You got this. So proud of you. OP mentions that she is in therapy. Thank you. I have gone back to my trauma therapist and gone to a few other therapists outside of that. Whenever something bad has happened, I have always run away on some road trip. But this time, I stayed and went through it and went head first into these intense therapies, and I am amazed at how transformative they have been. One of the things that I have understood is that when I was abused as a child, I was not allowed to have boundaries with my parents. I always stood up to them, and every time I got beat, I would stand back up. But I started to become silent when the police told me that my mother was allowed to beat me because I had a weed pipe. I think that I stopped expecting people to respect me or my boundaries, so I gave up on them and learned how to be really flexible for everyone else. Now I am learning to speak up for myself, even about small things. It's pretty interesting how people actually listen when you say no. I'm planning on staying single until Jesus Christ knocks on my door. I'm not even going to make out with anyone. I just want to come back to myself and my own freedom and strength. Thank you for watching the video. If you are interested in listening to these kinds of stories, we've got more in store for you. Simply subscribe to our channel, hit the like button, and share it with your friends.